Okay, so if you remember that ear-splitting screech of a dial-up modem or, the sacred ritual of blowing dust out of a Nintendo cartridge just to get it to work, then yeah, you are definitely in the right place. We are about to break down a show that is basically a time machine straight back to the 90s. This is Cartridge and Quest.
So right off the bat, the first thing you see isn't some slick logo, it's this, rated N for nostalgia. And let me tell you, they really mean it. This is your warning, but it's also your invitation. We're talking unfiltered conversation, packed with the kind of strong language and super deep cut references that are going to unlock core memories you probably didn't even know you still had.
So who are the guys on this little trip down memory lane? Let's meet the hosts, the guys who call themselves the Quest Crew.
Say hello to AverageTrav and Foodie Mike C. These guys are two 40-something dads who describe themselves as the driver and the color commentary of the show. And their mission? It's pretty simple. Just dive headfirst into the movies, the music, the games, and all the absolute weirdness that really defined our generation. The whole vibe? It's like you're right there with them in the room, just hanging out.
So what do these guys geek out about? Well, it's pretty much the perfect 90s kid starter pack. We're talking deep dives into retro gaming. Your SNES, N64, and the original PlayStation. They get way into the golden age of pro wrestling, the Attitude Era. They break down all the iconic 90s movies, and they have this knack for unearthing all this wonderfully obscure pop culture you totally thought you'd forgotten.
Now, the real heart of the show is a segment they call Retro Rewind. This is where the hosts really get into it, taking a super detailed look back at some of those specific, unforgettable moments in pop culture.
This is basically where they hit press start on the 90s and early 2000s. One week, it might be a TV show that completely pushed the boundaries, and the next, it's that one song that was the anthem of your entire summer, or just a deep dive into the completely insane drama of wrestling history.
Take, for example, their recent deep dive into Chappelle's show. They don't just sit around quoting lines, they get into a real debate. Think about it. Was this two-season masterpiece actually better than decades of Saturday Night Live? They make a pretty compelling case, I gotta say.
And their wrestling analysis? It's just top-notch. They'll put two Royal Rumbles head-to-head, what a lot of people call the best ever, the '92 Rumble with Ric Flair's epic 60-minute Iron Man performance, and then they'll contrast it with one of the worst, 1999, where the owner of the company, Vince McMahon, actually won the whole thing. A questionable call for sure, even if it did set up that legendary Stone Cold feud.
But, it's not all jokes and games. They can get surprisingly reflective, too. This quote just perfectly captures their take on 90s friendships, that whole he's my piece of shit, not yours mentality. It was this weird protective bond you had with your friends before everyone was just glued to a phone, and they really dig into how technology completely changed all of that.
All right, let's switch gears to another segment, one they called the Cartridge Conundrum. This is where they put your deep-cut knowledge to the test with some seriously tough retro gaming trivia. Okay, check this one out. For decades, there was this rumor, this urban legend, that a massive pop star secretly wrote some of the music for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but then had their name removed. The story goes they were unhappy with how it sounded on the Genesis sound chip. So, who was it? Prince? Michael Jackson? Phil Collins? George Michael? Take a second. What's your guess?
The answer was Michael Jackson. It's such an amazing piece of trivia that Sega denied for years. Apparently, MJ was such a perfectionist that he absolutely hated how his music sounded coming out of the Genesis hardware and just demanded they take his name off the project entirely. But the tracks, they stayed in the game. Wild.
Okay, so we're going from structured trivia to absolute chaos. This is Mike's Mind, the segment where co-host Foodie Mike C basically grabs the wheel and things immediately fly off the rails.
And just to give you a taste of the humor we're dealing with here, this is a real would-you-rather question they debated on the show. Yep, you read that right. It's completely absurd, totally ridiculous, and it is 100% designed to get the most honest gut reaction possible. And the response is just immediate and priceless. AverageTrav doesn't even hesitate. He's going to the ER 100 out of 100 times. And his logic? He could just tell the doctors he accidentally fell on one of his kids' Hot Wheels cars. It's that exact kind of hilarious, unscripted man cave logic that just defines the show.
And the unscripted chaos, it really doesn't stop there. You get these passionate, hilarious tangents that just come out of nowhere. For example, Mike reveals this deep, inexplicable hatred for Cher. So much so that he will literally leave a grocery store if one of her songs comes on. It's these totally authentic moments that make you feel like you're right there in the room with them.
So if any of this is hitting all the right nostalgic notes for you, you're probably wondering, okay, how can I join the quest?
They use this perfect game over, press start to continue graphic as their call to action. It's easy. You can find Cartridge and Quest pretty much everywhere, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and over on YouTube if you want the full video experience.
And that's really what this whole show is about. It's more than just a podcast. It's like a time machine that's powered by all of our shared memories, which really leaves just one question. What core memory are you going to unlock next?